Science started as intellectual curiosity and academic exploration, and I think there's still a lot of room for that in science. However, it's also becoming very important that we focus our efforts towards applied work, where we are aiming to solve problems and aiming to find solutions to some of the big challenges facing the world.
Scientists have been put under a lot of pressure to deliver solutions. Sometimes there are totally unrealistic expectations from science. Everybody wants to see the technology innovations we are actually developing here in KAUST being translated to meaningful products that will benefit our planet. But it takes time.
As the world continues to face challenges, there are scientists who spend sleepless hours trying to find solutions. Luckily, there is research that has already made it from the page into practice, solving some of these problems proactively and moving our world towards sustainability.
The translation of science into application is also a very important part of the activity of a university. That translation allows ideas, early experiments to be taken through to something that could be commercialized and then used. So KAUST has a very active and vibrant program within KAUST Innovation. There's a whole program on entrepreneurship, training people what it means to be involved in a business and how they can develop a company. It also involves creating the right environment for people to build those companies, to give them the support they're going to need.
We want entrepreneurship to be a brand of KAUST. You want to come to KAUST because we encourage entrepreneurship, and we have the technological base to allow you to do that.
We have already seen positive outcomes with a focus on sustainability through this program, and here's another one. Professor Anthopoulos is working with his team on organic nano-sized semiconductors with very minimal setups and simple workflows.
My group is focusing on research around innovative materials and processing paradigms for creating a future generation of optoelectronics. Examples of such electronics include flexible electronics, like this little solar cell I have in my hands. It's very interesting, made out of organic semiconductors. We want to take advantage of simplicity, so we're minimizing the cost of producing this new type of devices by exploring these two approaches, a bit of technology and a bit of nature. And by doing that, we have discovered a number of interesting phenomena. One of those discoveries is the water splitting reaction that these nanogap electrodes enable you to do at very low potentials. Then use that electricity together with our nanogap technology we've been developing to produce new forms of reactors that will help us generate green hydrogen very efficiently, in tandem with renewable energy sources like photovoltaics.
Green hydrogen, as mentioned by several KAUST scientists, has been hailed as the fuel of the future. However, conventional extraction methods are too costly and energy intensive. Could this simple organic method be a key solution?
But renewables not always deliver the energy when we need it the most. There, where storage of energy comes and becomes very important. Battery technology is not developing fast enough and is now becoming a bottleneck. Green hydrogen, I see providing some solutions when we need them the most. Generating green hydrogen efficiently is another question mark. Can we increase that efficiency to 100%? This is what we're trying to develop here in my laboratory. Technologies that will enable us to achieve those sort of efficiencies.
Speaking about batteries facing a bottleneck, lithium, an essential component of those batteries, seems to be scarce enough that we might run out of it in a few decades. However, Professor Zhiping Lai is already using the Red Sea in his backyard to mine for an essentially endless amount of lithium.
Right now, the total amount of lithium found on land is about 21 megatons. With this amount of lithium, we can produce 2.6 billion cars. But it is expected that by 2035, we are going to need 2.8 billion cars, which means the amount of the lithium is not enough to support us to convert all the combustion cars to lithium car. So this is the reason why we need this technology to extract lithium from seawater. And you can see that all what we need is seawater and the beautiful sunlight. With this device, we can produce unlimited amount of lithium to fulfill our transitions to a decarbonized society in the near future. This technology is the first one that can extract lithium from seawater. Here, this is the membrane chamber, and we use a membrane like this to separate the feed chamber from the concentrated chamber. And the feed chamber is connected with this tank, which contains seawater, and this seawater is taken from the Red Sea. And then we use the electric field to drive the lithium from seawater and pass through this membrane and get concentrated in the concentrated chamber. And the electricity is come from this solar panel to convert the sunlight to electricity. And the lithium concentration in seawater is only 0.2 ppm. Through this process, we can concentrate it up to 9,000 ppm. After our paper published about half a year ago, we now received the attention from more than 30 companies all over the world. If you look at our setup, you can see it's very simple. We did not add any chemicals, so all what we need is the electricity from the sunlight. It doesn't produce pollutions, so our process, we believe, is a green technology.
Here is another innovation that captures abundant solar energy to power utilities, but with a novel twist.
So it all started about 2 years ago when one of us entered the greenhouse for the first time, and we realized that in greenhouses in hot climates like in Saudi Arabia, you have to shade the crops. And so in a conventional scenario, you just see shade cloths, very simple, old school cloth on the top blocking the sunlight. So these screens have no other functionality. And so when we saw that as solar engineers, we thought, and we can bring value into this situation, and we could cover these screens with photovoltaic energy producing elements to use the blocked sunlight and transform it into electricity, which could then be used to cool the greenhouse. We are at the stage where we have fully functional prototypes installed in greenhouses. We started really very small in the research greenhouse here at KAUST with a prototype that was only 3 square meters large, but it was already doing what we wanted it to do, which was it was producing shade, and we were growing crops underneath, and we could see that the crops growing underneath were exactly growing the same way as the control shade screen. And at the same time, we were already capturing the electricity that was being generated by the screen. And so we did this for a year, and we found that this was really a very interesting concept. We received funding from KAUST, and then we went bigger and bigger, and now we have installations in the region in greenhouses that are more than 200 square meters, large, fully functional, generating electricity, producing crops underneath, and showing that it's really possible to actually generate all the electricity that is needed for the greenhouse to function fully autonomously. This brings us to the idea that it's possible to create what we like to call zero-energy greenhouses. It's important to understand that we are a startup. We are basically at the stage where we prototype these systems, but it's our vision and ambition to obviously scale up the technology. And so the next stage will be really to automate many of these processes that are still manual. And so instead of having, let's say, a few screens manufactured per day, we can actually make hundreds of these screens per day with the right level of automation technology. And this is our target.
KAUST has created spaces where Mirai and many other startups can test and proof their technologies. For example, Professor Lee and his team have embarked on a better path forward than packing more transistors laterally into a single device. They've invented a nanoscale device that integrates the transistors vertically to increase the density.
At KAUST, we have invented the first CMOS based on the fourth generation semiconductor. As you know, the CMOS technology is a foundation of the modern society. And every year, the world produces over 10 to the 21 and to 10 to the 22 CMOS transistors. And we believe that our technology here can eventually replace the mainstream silicon CMOS technology to have a huge impact to the future world and society. So we are looking at a chip, integrated circuit chip we have fabricated here at KAUST. So it has many transistors, and each transistor has nanometer size features that enable the operation of this transistor CMOS. And so these transistors is the so-called ambipolar transistors. Our next step is to continue to optimize it here at KAUST, but in the future we will want to work with industry to scale it up for future manufacturing.
Here we have made of like 5 transistors. From this output, we are able to see how the transistor is switching. For example, here we have the input voltage and we have the output behavior, and we can see how perfect its switching behavior is with no flaw in terms of like time delays, and there is no problem in the amplitudes. I'm moving the input voltage now, and you can see the input voltage and the output. Here we can see a perfect switching behavior. So this is the first time we have demonstrated an ideal inverter switching behavior using an ultra wide bandgap semiconductor. So this is the first in the world, and this is the preliminary step for our major breakthrough in the future.
In another breakthrough, 2 startups at KAUST joined together in a venture that has been earmarked by NASA and the Canadian Space Agency for the Deep Space Food Challenge.
We won the Deep Space Food Challenge, one of the international teams selected to move forward to phase 2 and to prototyping towards installing a system, hopefully on the next mission to Mars.
The purpose really of this NASA project was to build in a very specific area a system that's grow plant, that's grow food for the astronaut. And with the minimum impact in terms of energy, in terms of size, and the maximum output in terms of vegetable, greens, vitamins, nutrients for the astronaut. And of course, because we're in space, they cannot be resupplied, very easily. So it was to the system to be as most autonomous as possible. So Nat Geo is based on hydroponic system. This machine, you plug it really like a dishwasher. Okay, you have water in, you have water out, and you have electricity. This tank gets the computer fill it with water. We have different type of sensors, and the computer will analyze the water. And according to the water quality, he will take different nutrients. He will build the solution. When the dosage is right, then he will adapt the pH. The pH is the acidity of the water. And it's very important because in hydroponics, the pH, if it's too acid or too basic, the plant cannot suck the nutrient in. When everything is ready, he will pump the water up. The water will be pumped up, go down to all the spots that you see, go back, and it's a constant cycle. And here we measure different things. We measure the temperature, the humidity, the light. Okay? And again, the computer is managing everything here. The light goes, on and off. It's very important for the plant to sleep as well. That's something that, people maybe don't know. But during the night, the plants are growing their root system. And we have also a nursery. Why we do this nursery? Because the plant at the beginning is, is very delicate. So we create a special condition in this environment that is a little bit more humid, that has a different light. What we're working with Mitch is to create a compost system where you put all the organic waste there. And
yeah, so the idea here is for us to replace this unit here with a fully enclosed, compact, automated composting system. where you can put all of the organic waste from your household or your spaceship. So all the inedible parts of any plants that you're growing, any leftover food scraps, from your kitchen prep, even paper and cards, you can put all of that inside using an automated system with, again, computer controls to regulate temperature and air. Over the course of a few weeks, it will turn that organic waste into a rich organic compost. And then we can use that compost and extract the nutrients from it and recycle those nutrients back into the system.
And the main point, of course, is that is completely natural. And above that being even natural is, all the waste chain, the food chain. I mean, you don't need to buy plastic, box nutrient that's come. That doesn't need to be cheap. So we save on food miles and everything like that.
What we really do is build composting infrastructure to recycle organic waste and produce a high-quality compost to improve these soils and make agriculture and landscaping here more sustainable. So our products can boost yield by up to 6 times, which we've seen in our lab results, and this using 75% less water as well.
EDAMA's strength is the scientific background of the people developing the product. We are ensuring high quality and quality control in every step of the process, and having this strong scientific background is helping to understand more about the process and to allow us to understand which are the key parameters we can play on to ensure that the final product is the highest quality product we can get.
From your veggies handled by computers to robots as lab technicians, KAUST continues to innovate in the world of AI.
Modern artificial intelligence is dominated by something called deep learning and by artificial neural networks. Such networks are a little bit modeled after what you've got in your brain. You can train an artificial neural network to become an artificial chemist. Now, at KAUST, there are several research centers where all kinds of interesting things are done that have little to do at first glance with AI. For example, there is research on chemistry, on catalysts, on solar cells, on environmental friendly energy, on healthcare, which can actually, it turns out, be improved through AI, through these artificial neural networks.
We've been able to enable other fields of science and engineering with the AI techniques that we develop. There's examples of our AI techniques that help the plant scientists be able to expedite the process in which they do their research. So instead of waiting days and weeks to process microscopic images of these plant images, these seed images, our AI techniques can quickly go through and analyze these images in a fraction of the time. In addition to that, we have AI techniques that are helping archaeologists browse satellite imagery of huge areas of land, including all of Saudi Arabia, for example, whereby we can discover new archaeological sites that have never been discovered before, that date thousands and thousands of years ago. And that was in conjunction, obviously, with an archaeologist who provided training data for these AI techniques, because just like a little child, you need to teach that child to do a particular task by giving them examples. And this is what we do in teaching an AI system. The time that she took to actually discover these sites, going through Google Earth images, manually doing that and discovering them, took her weeks and weeks, if not longer. However, with the AI technique that we developed in conjunction with Laurence, we were able to cut that time down into minutes. We really are pushing forward so that AI is a tool for good in this world. And this is why you see phrases like AI for all, AI for good, and this is true. And we want to build the next generation of AI techniques for this purpose.
Next generation AI needs next generation scientists to ensure the complete exploration and development of this technology.
After 3.5 years spent in KAUST, I achieved more than I thought I could.
Every day we interact with world-leading scientists and we solve global problems.
I'm working on wearable graphene sensors for different applications. for example, for marine animals, for dolphins and crabs and turtles, and also for Formula One cars.
I'm one of the luckiest girls working in marine science here at KAUST. I got a chance to know a lot of people from around the world, and the scientific way improved me a lot.
I didn't only expand my technical knowledge, but I also grow as a person, because now I have my self-confidence here. I know that I can take any hard or impossible project, convinced that I can do it.
All my life I was trying to do something for the human being, and now we are trying to solve some problems related to energy.
The world continues to face threats to its survival. Luckily, KAUST scientists and their contemporaries are up to the challenge of future-proofing the planet through sustainability and technology.
If we really want to make an impact, we can't allow ourselves to become siloed. So we really have to find ways of deploying the expertise and the facilities that we have at KAUST to target these big problems. So KAUST has come a long way, and I think we still have a long way to go, but we've seen incredible enthusiasm from our faculty in terms of wanting to get involved and to see their science being taken and used. And the range of companies, the range of ideas, the range of sectors that people want to work in is incredibly diverse.
There's a saying in Chinese, very, very well known. It takes 10 years to raise a tree. It takes 100 years to raise a human being. 100 years. So you have to invest. You cannot hope for short-term results. Many universities around the world are over 100 years old. Some of the oldest ones are more like 1,000 years old. We're only 10 years old. But you have to start. If you don't start, you'll never get there. My own model. If you try, you may not succeed. But if you don't, you fail already.